is Nilsie D. Johnson, and this is my unit plan on the Western expansion. Come and join me as we explore this unit and discover a journey west worth taking. This unit has been created to place the students into the time period of our nation's expansion towards the west. The main objective of this unit is to help the students to understand the experiences that the settlers encountered while traveling along the overland trails. For some it was an adventure, for others it was a disastrous journey. If one was to peruse the many accounts left behind by the pioneers, it would be evident that the journey was worth it for some and unkind to others who then chose to return back home. This unit will include content standards in the following areas. In social studies, they will demonstrate knowledge of the time period and discuss the experiences of the early settlers of the West. In language arts, they will be covering reading and writing. In math, statistics, data analysis, and probability, visual and performing arts, and the unit will also cover technology standards. As a result of this unit, the students will know the definition of manifest destiny. They will learn the difference between primary and secondary sources. They will understand how the West grew and changed because of Western expansion. And they will understand what life was like for pioneers and their families who traveled west. Throughout this unit, the students will synthesize many things. They will generate lists, construct a game, compile a recipe book, create a skit, produce a song and dance, sketch a moment in time, collect their thoughts and reflections, and finally design a scrapbook to hold all of their memories. The technology utilized in this unit plan will be computers, digital cameras, iPod touches, iPads, and a printer. Programs that will be used in this unit will be MindMeister, KidPix, Google Docs, Wikispaces, Oregon Trail the game, as well as various internet websites. Each lesson will include Bloom's Taxonomy's higher order of thinking skills. And finally, Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences will be considered in each lesson plan so that all learning styles will be addressed, making for a unit plan that is accessible and obtainable to all students. Day 1 will be the introduction of the unit, of course. On this day, the Western Expansion movie trailer you saw at the beginning of this presentation will be played in order to hook the students. This is where the overview of the unit with all the whys, whos, and wheres will be discussed. It is also at this time that the students will learn that they are to post to their own personal Wikispace page daily, and that all items that will be placed on the Wiki and on Google Docs must be printed out and added to their scrapbook folder. Finally, students must spend at least 5 minutes a day playing Oregon Trail on the iPod Touch until they make it to Oregon or bust. Oh, what torture! Day 2. This lesson was created with the verbal linguistic learner in mind. They are to create a diary page in where they will discuss what persuaded their parents to leave their families and communities to move west. They are to explain why the family chose the certain trail that they will be taking, and their information will be recorded on their wiki page. Day 3. This lesson was created with a logical mathematical learner in mind. This is where lists will be generated. In 2 paragraphs, the students will calculate how long the journey will take and why the trek must be completed before winter. They will also generate a list of items needed to complete the journey. Days 4 and 5. These lessons were created with the bodily kinesthetic learner in mind. This is where a campfire game will be constructed. On the first day of the lesson, the students will work together within their cooperative learning groups to illustrate on KidPix the perfect game that would be played while on the trail. The second day, they will be creating this game all together. The game will then be played within their cooperative learning groups, and the first round will be recorded on an iPod Touch. Day 6. This lesson was created with the naturalist learner in mind. On this day, the students will search the internet for various recipes that may have been used while on the trails. The students will then decide which recipes they like best and create a collection of their favorite recipes that they would try. They will detail on a list what they would make for breakfast, for supper, and for dinner. They will then record their information on their wiki page, of course. Day 7. This lesson was created for the interpersonal students. On this day, the students will peruse various diaries of those who had traveled west. Together in their groups, they will collaborate and collect the best and most joyous moments that people had along the trails. They are to take this information and create a 4-minute skit, which they will perform before the class. This performance will be recorded on a digital camera. Days 8, 9, and 10 were all created for the musical rhythmic learner. In their cooperative learning groups, the students will create a song on day 8. This song will also have lyrics, which express their hopes and their dreams of reaching their journey's end. On day 9, they will create a simple dance to go with their song. And on day 10, this campfire song and dance will be performed before the entire class and then recorded with the iPod Touch. Day 11 was created especially for the visual spatial learner. This is where the students are able to sketch a moment in time. After viewing Independence Rock on the internet, the students will be able to create their own sketches in the rock in order to communicate with other settlers who will come after them. With pastels, they will draw what their signature may have looked like on the rock. They are also to collect other pictures on the internet in order to add to their scrapbook at this time. Day 12. This lesson was created for the intrapersonal learners. This is the point where the students are to reflect on the end of their journey. On their Wikispace pages, they are to express the emotions that they felt when they reached the West Coast. They are also to express whether the journey was worth it or not, and whether the family will remain on the West or if they are to move back to the Midwest. Day 13 is where everything comes together. This is the day that the students are to make sure that they have all their information collected to add into their scrapbooks. This is also the day that they are to decorate their scrapbooks in order to present it for their classmates. This scrapbook will be the culmination of this entire unit. Days 14 and 15 are the final 2 days of the unit. This is where the students are to share their scrapbooks with their classmates and give a summary of their journey, including which trail they chose and if the journey was worth it at the end. By the end of the unit, the students will have a foundational understanding about manifest destiny and how it affected Western expansion. The students will understand the growth and change that occurred throughout the West over a very brief time in history. The students will be able to describe the purpose of moving westward. The students will be able to identify the challenges faced while moving, and the students will be able to synthesize information about daily life along the many trails that headed west. Finally, the students will be able to discern between fact and fiction when reading about the adventures of the early pioneers. By incorporating the multiple intelligences and Bloom's taxonomy while also integrating technology into each lesson, I have created an exciting unit plan that will not only enable all students to effectively learn, but will also bring American history and Western expansion to life. This has been Nelsie D. Johnson from the Azusa Pacific University Digital Learning and Technology Program. Thank you.